I finally have my Graf Zeppelin high enough to use her. So let's try her out.
指揮官お引きください。我はゼッペリン。終焉を聖なる光よ、私に力を。あややあやや聖なる光よ、私に力を。
ドイツの科学は世界一。
このイラストリアスでもやばいよやばいよ。
God damn it, it was just a dream. How dumb was I, thinking that a German ship would actually perform good. Well, anyway, so after this intro, that took me around 8 hours of editing and making me go insane. Welcome to the new guide, this time featuring the Graf Zeppelin. You probably wonder why I'm doing a German carrier guide. Well, this is easy, since I have Patreon, and there exists a role where you can decide what ship I make, and the person decided the Graf Zeppelin. First I wasn't sure about doing it, but he had really good negotiation tactics. Yeah, I totally was not pressured to do it. Well anyway, let's go briefly over the history of our beautiful Graf Zeppelin. The construction of her began pretty early, even before World War II launched, so had a decent amount of planes, and had a strong secondary armament. Just look at this. Looks like hell for me. But yeah, the chances were pretty good that she would be a really good aircraft carrier. She was never launched. Well, let's just say the Germans had some minor issues. And lastly, she was sunk in weapon testing. Can we get a ref in the chat, boys? What a tragic story. But it was German, so what have you expected? It would be a surprise if something actually survived the war from the Germans. Okay, I'm working. So let's go over Graf Zeppelin in game. So, like already said, she is a German carrier which has the rarity super rare, but since it's German downgraded by 2 levels, which puts her with all the other air carriers, you can only get her during the Divergent chessboard event. What means event exclusive guide again. I know you guys enjoy me doing guides to ships that you can get 1 time a year. You can count on me for that. But seriously now, if you want to make a German fleet at this game, you can forget about that completely, since almost all German ships are locked behind this event wall. Like, look at this. From 38 German ships you can only get 15. This is nothing. I really wish that we would finally have it like Japan and China server, and that you can get the ships from the Divergent chessboard in construction. But enough talking about how you cannot get her. Let's finally go over the stats. First we got the aviation. Her aviation stat is not the best, but still pretty nice, so she has still good striking potential. But the terrible thing about her is her reload. Like seriously, she has one of the worst reloads for a carrier, and making it almost impossible to match her with other ships, like Helena's radar scan. Next, the anti-air. Graf Zeppelin is pretty modest AA. What really surprises me, when you look how much armament she had in the first place. And lastly, her HP. This is the point what makes Graf Zeppelin a kinda decent ship. She has the best health pool of all the carriers in the game at around 6800 hit points, which is really good. Sadly, she doesn't have the best evasion, but don't worry about that, since Graf Zeppelin has a perk that helps with that a lot, which makes her so tanky, and that's not the only thing that makes her tanky. Yeah, let's continue. Well, talking about her perks, let's go over it. Graf Zeppelin has 2 perks. The first one is Iron Blood Wings. This perk is really cool and somehow unique. Well, not really. All your Iron Blood ships will receive reduced damage by 15%. So less damage. Sounds cool, right? Well, yes and no. Since let's take for example Queen Elizabeth with her 1 perk, Queen's Order. This perk buffs everything except the HP from Royal Navy ships, which is way better than this perk from the Germans. Well, shows again how Germans are supposed to be bad and underpowered. Like the perk is nice and all, but I don't really like it, but at least you can increase the survivability of Prince Eugen even more. Next on we got Iron Blood Hawk. This is a really nice perk, and I would like to see some similar skills, since we don't have too many of them. When you use a German planes instead of a different nation, you will get additionally 30% in efficiency to that plane, which is really nice, since it makes it possible to equip also different planes, except the meter ones. So finally we can make a German ship with just German equipment. I dreamed of this moment. So with that, let's go to the equipment. For the fighters, you don't have much choice, except you are fine with fighters without bombs. You obviously take the German Messerschmitt, but if you want some damage from them, then I suggest you the Vought Corsair, since you will need it, trust me. If you use Germans you will lack a lot of AA, but if you don't have that, just take the typical Hellcat fighters. They are good for everything. Now the dive bombers. Graf Zeppelin doesn't have torpedo bombers, so you lose some damage. For that you can either take the German Junkers, also known as Stukers, or the Helldivers. Even with the efficiency boost there wasn't too big of a difference. In most cases the Helldivers even did more damage, so it is more of a preference, but take the Stukers for the German memes. And now lastly the auxiliary equipment. For that I really recommend you taking a homing beacon. Graf Zeppelin is big and clumsy, and she will need the reload boost, even though it's just 4%. For the second slot you can equip a steam catapult. You can even take 2 of them. If you don't care about the terrible reload, it wouldn't change much to begin with. Well, looks like we got everything we need with this. Now is the big question, is Graf Zeppelin a good carrier or not? Well, she is German like said before, so what do you expect? It's a nice ship, if you like Germany and so on. But otherwise just go with the German PR ships, even when they are not a CV. But some final words, don't forget to subscribe, and also, there will be in the near future a stream, where I play SCP Secret Laboratory with you. The game is free and everyone can play it, well, except if you don't use Windows, so sucks for you. So get it on Steam as fast as you can, so be on the watch out. Anyway, I'm finally free to make a new guide, not a trash ship like Graf Zeppelin. Oh god damn it, looks like I will suffer 4 more months with German guides, so wish me luck boys.